Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 9th meeting of the Delhi Township Trustees. We will begin the meeting first with a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our moment of silence. And tonight's moment of silence is dedicated to one of our extended family members, Miss Sue Jeske. And Sue had her own professional career and was a very successful human resource manager. She was also a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 7. We best know her as being the special friend and companion to Tom Winkler. Tom referred to Sue as his guardian angel. Having gone through the Citizens Police Academy with Sue, she definitely was that angel. We enjoyed her so much. We enjoyed her support for Tom and the DCPA. We will deeply miss her. She will also be missed by Tom Winkler and his daughter Erin and her family, as well as the entire DCPA and the Delhi Township Police Department. So if we could start with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we will begin the meeting then with the approval of the minutes. Mr. Luby.
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting held on September 19th, 2019, and dispense with the reading.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for the pay period ending, September 24th, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes. Report from the fiscal officer, Mr. Luby, please.
Resolution 2019-163, resolution approving purchase order obligations incurred on behalf of the township by the township administrator, authorizing payment of certain purchase order obligations and dispensing with the second reading.
I'll introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
As far as significant transactions since the last meeting, as far as disbursements, we had a check for $43,000 to Cincinnati Public Schools for their TIF reimbursement, and our payroll on 10/3 was $283,000. As far as deposits, on 10/1, we received $103,000 for a Bureau of Workers' Comp rebate, and on 10/8, we received our second half settlement from the county for $97,000. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Trustees' correspondence. Trustee Davis
Not at this time.
and Trustee Sturts.
Not at this time, thank you.
All right, I have 2 things to mention. The first was I love being stopped with good news and thank you so much type of messages. And I received one, and a lot of you will recognize Mike Ryder. He's our favorite butcher down at Humbert's Meats. He recently suffered a pretty serious heart attack and stopped me in the store to tell me that he would not have made it had it not been for our EMTs. That as he laid there, he heard them on their way. And of course, our response time is 4 minutes or less. And by getting him and attaching him to the necessary equipment that actually tells the hospital his condition before his arrival, he was in surgery in less than 4 hours after being picked up by our squad. So he just wanted me to know that he thinks our guys are terrific. And I said, thank you, so do we.
And the ladies.
Yes.
Man.
And did you want to add?
No, I'm just doing a universal shout out. It's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
But I would want to add why some people are thinking, why are they all in blue shirts? So we'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, I would also like to include on this, I want to invite everyone to the first We Thrive community meeting. This is the committee meeting, Cheryl, okay, that we're doing with the Hamilton County Public Health Department. And we want your feedback and ideas for enhancing the health and the well-being of the Delhi Township community. And the date is Thursday, October 17th, from 7 to 8, and it will be at the fire station on Neeb Road. So everyone's invited to join us for the first introductory meeting. We do have a select committee that's going to carry forth the ideas that we received from this meeting, but please, everyone, you're all invited, October 17th from 7 to 8. That's all I have. All right, going through departments, I have nothing from police. No comment on your pink badge? We would like to hear about that.
As with the shirt you're wearing, the police department is elected to, the officers voluntarily purchase badges on their own with their own funds to honor those who are surviving breast cancer. So as you can see, the pink badge, it's honoring people with breast cancer. So we're almost at 80% of the officers purchased them.
Great, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And along with that, they're also given a money contribution so we can give it to a local charity as well.
Super.
Very nice.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Braun. Public Works, Ron, update? Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, trustees. I guess to start the story, a few weeks ago we had a local snowplow rodeo, which is something we normally do attend. I believe we had about 60 drivers total throughout, I don't know, 275 belt more or less. We sent about 5 or 6 drivers out, and our foreman, Keith Duncan, finished first place. He normally does do pretty well at these. So we take our top 2 best score drivers that we sent there between Public Works and the parks that help us out with snow removal, which ended up being Keith Duncan and Randy Soupy. And they attended the regional snowplow rodeo in Middletown today. Keith did finish in the top 10 as far as trucks out of 60 drivers, again, roughly. Randy Soupy finished first place in the excavator competition, which is pretty exciting. Out of about 25 operators, he has won this before in the past. We normally do pretty good. And I wanted to put this little flyer. This is actually a flyer that goes out from the Public Works organization that puts on this, and this flyer probably goes all the way to Dayton, and it has our truck right on the front page, which is pretty nice. But we normally do represent this snowplow rodeo pretty good, so it's
Well,
exciting.
congratulations to Keith Duncan and Randy Soupy, and that's why we call him Super Soupy. So that's super. Get it? Okay. Fire Department. Chief Campbell?
Motion to approve the hiring of Seth K. Donovan as part-time firefighter EMT in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Firefighters Association effective October 9th, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to accept the $5,000 Bureau of Workers' Comp grant for Lucas Device. The township is responsible for matching funds totaling $9,000.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion passes. Doug, did you want to explain a little bit about that Lucas device, please?
Yes, thank you, trustees. So if you recall, we submitted a equipment fire safety grant through Bureau of Workers' Comp. So the Lucas device is a hands-free CPR device, basically. It's strapped around the patient, and it can perform compressions. Like right now, if we do it manually, they have to be on a hard surface, on the floor or on a backboard. This device actually goes around the entire chest wall. Basically, you strap it on, and it keeps a count. So we have used it once in the field so far since we've had it, and it was not. What we noticed first is we take a pit crew style resuscitation. So just like you see in NASCAR, everybody's got a job to do when they're changing out the tires. Same way we do a resuscitation. Everybody has a job to do, but now we have one set of free hands that don't have to do CPR. It's done automatically, and we look forward to what this device can do and bring in terms of care for our service. So
Great.
we're really looking forward to it. And a shout out to everyone here. You look fabulous in your breast cancer awareness fire shirts. The full-time union decided on a design and a way to bring awareness, and we'll be using the proceeds from the shirts to give a donation. Also this weekend, they did a Fill the Boot drive on Delhi Pike for Muscular Dystrophy Association, and we're able to raise about $4,500 for that as well. So they've been very busy. I'd be remiss not to announce this Sunday. Hope everybody in the community can come join us. 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We have a lot of events online. We're going to show off some of the new equipment that we've purchased this year, we've talked about in grants, and actually explain how these devices are improving our service. So again, everyone come out. The weather looks to be good. The Bengals are not on a hot streak, so you really don't have a reason not to come by on Sunday. So hope to see everybody out there.
Great.
Also, don't you have a memorial service on Sunday morning?
Yes.
Is that open to the public?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Torbeck, anything?
Throw 'em out.
Just a couple events coming up. Our Harvest Hoot Nanny, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. out at Storywoods Park. It's our second year for it. The first year was fantastic, great turnout. Petting zoo, face painting, some craft beers, some food trucks, some games, prizes, festival sort of stuff, pumpkin patch. So a little bit for everybody in the fall festival. And then our sip and shop vendor, it's a direct sale, so more of your Scentsy and your makeup and stuff like that. And we'll also have wine there. That'll be down at the Senior Center. That is November 15th from 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. That is completely full with vendors. So the Senior Center will be packed, and we'll be excited. This will be the first year for this. We were just getting so many requests to do more of the direct sales, because later in the year we'll do more of our crafts and vendors for our holiday market, which is also already filled with vendors. So both events should be great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Administration, Mr. Cameron, anything?
Not real.
No,
We do not want to see your vacation photos.
Where have you been?
that was, it's inspiration for what we can contemplate doing on the Rumpke Site.
Isn't that the Rumpke Site?
It's soon to be, many years in the future. But, yeah, as far as the Rumpke Site goes, I wanted to make sure everybody understood and knew we have 2 public engagement sessions set up, Monday, October 28th and Tuesday, October 29th. These are going to be held at our lodge. We talked about doing it somewhere else, but the lodge seems the better place. And they're at 6:30 each night. They are going to be run by Jeff Steck, who is Executive Director for Citizens for Civic Renewal. So we've engaged him because he does these public engagement sessions for different entities, local governments specifically. The session will be interactive. He's going to try and get a sense and feedback on what our residents are interested in seeing there. So we're hoping to gain some very good information so that as we move forward, we're plugging in what people would support. We would ask, and we will put out something in writing. We're just finalizing the closing, so we didn't want to put something out before that. We would ask that people RSVP, because there will be a capacity that the room can handle for him to conduct the session the way he conducts it. That's 100 people that the lodge can fit, so if we get 100 people and have to say, you got to come back the next night, or Jeff will do other nights. So we will make sure people realize in what they read that there's an RSVP request. So October 28th, October 29th at the lodge at 6:30 p.m.
Great. Everyone mark your calendars. Here it comes. October 28th and 29th at 6:30 at the lodge. All right. Community Development, Mr. DeLong.
A motion to approve the hiring of Nathan Baker as Inspector in the Community Development Department at a pay rate of $18.50 per hour, effective October 23rd, 2019, and successful completion of the pre-employment drug testing, background check, and voice stress analyzer test.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Yes. Okay, motion approved.
Resolution 2019-164, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 501 Overhill Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I will just make it quick tonight. All of the resolutions still on the agenda tonight were still in the capacity that you will see in the photos as on the screen, with the exception of 3968 Delhi Pike. They did mow their lawn, but they left the toilet in the driveway. So we will still have to clean up that for debris. But everything else is as you've seen in the photos coming forward. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-165, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 1123 Betty Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong? Okay.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-166, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 3940 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution again, Mr. DeLong?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-167, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4011 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-168, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 3968 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
There's the toilet.
Thanks for giving us something to go on here.
So do we have to amend it that the vegetation's not there?
Yeah, we'll post it and just go after the debris.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-169, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 4110 Honeycutt Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption on this resolution.
Any discussions on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-170, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 332 Don Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yeah, since this photo is a little dark, there's like a hutch and a bunch of wood up along the garage door and on top of their trash cans that's been there, so.
Okay.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-171, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4166 Copperfield Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-172, resolution providing for the removal of a junk motor vehicle at 6820 Hillside Avenue, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption on this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Mr. DeLong, when I was going through these are not all vacant buildings. People are
Correct. Most
Okay.
of them are owner-occupied.
owner-occupied, and not all of them were first offenders.
No.
No.
We have quite a few multiple offenders. The only one that is vacant is Betty.
Betty Lane.
And we've already abated that twice this year. Once for a junk motor vehicle and once for excessive vegetation and debris. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, back to the agenda for public comments, and I do have one signed in this evening. Mr. Christopher Bailey. Mr. Bailey, we have standard rules.
Okay.
Come forward, give us your name, your address. You get 5 minutes to tell us your story.
Okay, thank you. My name is Christopher Bailey. I'm owner of 1081 Anderson Ferry Road. I'm here today to ask the political component of the township to abate a dead tree that's on township property. The tree is in the right-of-way. It is not on my property, so there's been, I guess, some confusion about how to proceed. I can say for myself that I will not cut the tree down. It's not my tree. So I'm asking the township to please come. I do believe that this tree is not long for the world. You know, we should get high winds up there on top of the hill. I had my neighbor across the street lose half his tree last year. If this tree falls, it's going to end up in the street, you know, hopefully not on somebody or somebody's property. So, you know, such as their vehicle. So, at any rate, I'm here to ask you guys to consider sending Public Works out, or however you guys want to do it, and cut the tree. I thank you for your time.
All right. I did receive your letter, and I did have consult with our law director, because obviously, you know, the right-of-way, the street, who owns what, and that's why I asked our law director tonight to talk to us about this, if you want to. Brian?
So, thank you, President Seavey. So, Mr. Bailey and I have been on the phone and gone back and forth in emails. I know he's had a number of conversations with Mr. Ripberger. I think there are a couple of issues that need a little.
Can you check your mic to see if you're on?
There are a number of clarifications. Helps to get closer to it, I think. User error. There are a number of clarifications. The first is that it's not township owned. It's in the right of way. Most people own to the center of the street. They don't understand that. They don't think about that, but generally they own to the center of the street. I know Mr. Bailey's referred to a Cages drawing, but the Cages drawings don't accurately reflect property lines. So that's point one. My understanding is he owns to the center of Alvera. So that's point one. Point two is that under the statutes 554314, the township may trim or remove trees in the right of way. So We don't own it, but we could trim or remove it in the right-of-way if, in the engineer or board's judgment, removing so was needed to facilitate the right of the public to improvement and maintenance of and uninterrupted travel on a township road. That's just not the case. None of the experts here that have looked at that say that the removal of that tree is necessary to facilitate the right of the public to improvement or maintenance or of uninterrupted travel on the road. So not only does the specific statute that talks about dealing with trees in the right-of-way not apply, in fact, it's actually unlawful to cut somebody else's tree down under Chapter 9 of the revised code, 900 rather. There are a couple of things. Again, number one, it's not township-owned property. It is in the right-of-way, and the township does have the opportunity to remove it if it met those certain stipulations in the revised code, but they don't apply. So Mr. Bailey and I went back and forth, and Mr. Bailey acknowledges in an email that the authorities that I cited him, including this statute and Attorney General's opinion and a township 2019 Ohio Township Law Treatise, he acknowledges in his email to me that, yes, he understands that there's nothing that compels the trustees to remove this. So it's not only that, it's also the fact that we can't remove a tree on someone else's property unless it meets these factors under the statute, and it simply doesn't.
Well, I disagree with you. We just had 5 or 6 vegetation issues that show up here that the township is going to abate. That's on somebody else's private property.
If the trustees want me to engage, I will. Otherwise, that's because it's a nuisance and because we meet the test under the statute because it's a nuisance. In this case,
This tree does not meet the definition of nuisance.
That's correct. It does not. No engineer has made the determination under that particular statute that the removal or a trimming of the tree is required to allow uninterrupted travel on the road. It's just really that simple. The test isn't met.
Okay.
A quick question.
Sure.
Quick question. When you talked about, Mr. Bailey, you brought up the safety. Have you looked at the tree? Is this a tree that, since we are going into fall and everything coming on, is this something to where the tree looks like, oh yeah, it's not too sturdy, is sturdy, and I know you're saying it's not. I get that. I'm just curious from our standpoint, what happened when we went out?
My understanding is that our experts that looked at that, and I would defer to them to give you specifics, but it does not meet, it's not in danger of falling in the road or becoming a road hazard. Obviously, if we thought it was, we would take care of it, and so the experts have looked at it and have determined that we just don't meet the test. It's not a matter of not wanting to, it's a matter of it just doesn't meet the test yet.
Gotcha. But if it fell in the roadway, then we would be compelled to remove that from the roadway?
Yeah, because that would be that would be now a hazard in the road,
Right.
assuming it fell and all that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, that's the word of the law.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for your time.
Now, thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming out.
Okay. Announcement of community events then, Mr. Luby?
The fire department's open house is Sunday, October 13th from 1 to 4 p.m., and that will be at the fire headquarters at 697 Neeb Road. The Delhi Historical Society program, Mary Cunningham, the Body Snatcher's Wife, will be Monday, October 14th at 7 p.m., and that will be at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. The second annual Harvest Hootenanny will be Saturday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that will be at Story Woods Park at 694 Pontius Road. The Community Electronics Recycling Day will be Saturday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that has been moved to Winton Woods Harbor at 245 Winton Road because of the construction at the mount. The DCPA Halloween Dinner Dance has been canceled due to lack of interest. The Veterans Day ceremony, hosted by the Delhi Township Veterans Association, will be Sunday, November 10th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It will be at the Veterans Memorial Park here at 934 Neeb Road. The Delhi Historical Society program, Greater Cincinnati Veterans Memorials, will be Monday, November 11th at 7 p.m. It will be at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. The Delhi Sip and Shop Vendor Fair will be Friday, November 15th from 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that will be at the Delhi Senior Community Center at 647 Neeb Road.
Thank you, Mr. Luby. Just a reminder, everyone, I'm going to add this to his list. Please, October 28th and October 29th, This is community engagement for the future use of the Rumpke property. It's at the lodge, and it's at 6:30, and we'd like you to RSVP so we can make sure we've got the right accommodations for the number of people attending, and if necessary, we'll do it an additional night, correct? Correct. Okay, so that's October 28th and 29th. Before we have Halloween, we're all going to meet about the Rumpke property. Okay, so just a friendly reminder of how important that is to all of us, that what we finalize on that Rumpke property is a product of what the entire community is looking at to happen there. So let's do that. All right, then there is no cause for executive session this evening, so if I can call for adjournment, please.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
This meeting is adjourned. I'd like to invite everyone back to our next regular meeting, which is Wednesday, October 30th. So you got the 28th at the lodge or the 29th at the lodge, and come on back here on October the 30th. See you all then. Thank you.